Hello, my name is Samuel Gilbert, and this is my final exam presentation for English 2112 for the spring 2024 semester. So, two concepts that I learned this semester throughout all the readings that we've had was one, that your identity can change throughout your life and depending on changing circumstances in your life. And I learned this concept through my reading of the Metamorphosis. In the story, rather, you saw Gregor. His identity did change. Physically. He went from being a man to an insect overnight. But it's also his personality changed, just given his new hard circumstances and new adjustments that he had to make in his life. He went from being a pretty average man to being a depressed bug because he can't do anything as a human. Well, that he did when he was a human. So that just showed me that you just have to be ready for life's changes, and then like your identity, your life, everything can just change in an instant. And so another concept that I learned is that literature has a deep meaning and has a great impact on the world. I really like the stories that we read just because, they weren't just like surface level boring stories. They had like deep meaning, and I could tell that the authors put a lot of knowledge into their work. And I really enjoyed learning these concepts throughout the semester. So the most difficult part of this course for me was just simply all of the readings and writing assignments that we had to do. For me, reading is not my strong suit, so it's just hard for me to just focus on, reading and just getting all the information in one sitting. And then also because many of the readings were several pages long, and then also I didn't really understand some of the stories, at least on the first read. So I had to reread some stories just to get a better understanding of it. So I spent total about 5 hours each week studying for this course. Most of it was just reading the material. Then, like I mentioned earlier, just rereading the material just to make sure that I had a good understanding of it. And then also just perfecting my writing assignments. I just know that there were very strict guidelines for this course, and I just always just made sure that all of my writings followed the guidelines and that I got a best score possible. So the thing that surprised me was about Emily Dickinson, and just how much poetry she wrote. I heard about her before, and I read some of her poems, but I just didn't know that she wrote, thousands of poems. And also the fact I was also surprised that she kept many of them hidden. And it wasn't until after that she died, her family released the poems, after she passed. So that was pretty surprising to me. I just didn't know that she wrote so many poems, and that many of the poems that are out today were released after she had died. And that just shows me that Emily, she truly was a dedicated poet, and she loved what she did. So overall, I did enjoy this course. The reading, as I mentioned earlier, just was a challenge for me, just simply because, there were just pretty long stories, and then we had to do, several writing assignments each week. So that was just pretty challenged. But it did teach me a lesson. It did teach me how important it is to manage my time wisely, and then also just making sure that all guidelines were met. And then I also mentioned this earlier too. I really did like the stories that we read. My favorite was Things Fall Apart, um, just because I love like the colonialism and how it just showed how things changed throughout the story, and that was my favorite story of the ones that we read. And like I said earlier, they were very interesting, and then many of them, had deeper meanings, and I could tell that the authors, really put a lot of time into their work, and I see why these works are studied later on because they're really great readings. Now, the one last thing that I just didn't like about the course was just that the number of readings that were required. Just for me personally, it just did feel a bit overwhelming having to read so much each week. But other than that, I really did enjoy this course. I'm glad I took this course, and I'm happy that I'm on track to pass this course. So thank you, and thank you for watching.